Some recipes for soup make their own stock while you're making the soup. You just add water. You don't have to add a separate vegetable or chicken stock to it. But there are other soup recipes that call for stock. So I have a simple vegetable stock recipe that you can make in advance. You can freeze it if you want, or just put it in your refrigerator and have it handy for when you're going to make a soup that calls for a stock. I'm starting off with my large soup pot here, and I'm going to put in a tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm going to heat that on medium, and then we're going to chop the vegetables. Over at the cutting board, I've already washed the vegetables. I've got 2 carrots, 2 stalks of celery, a bunch of scallions, these are green onions, 1 large white onion, and I have 4 cloves of garlic that I've already peeled, and then I've got some parsley. I usually buy curly parsley, but they didn't have it at the store, so I've got flat leaf, and it's about 8 sprigs. So what I'm going to do is chop off these ends that I don't want. And I'm going to cut the celery and the carrots into 1-inch pieces, approximately, and get rid of this other knife. And since my cutting board is by my sink and not by my stove, I'm going to put that in a bowl. I'm going to cut off the ends of the carrots. And then cut them into 1-inch pieces. Then for these scallions, I'm going to trim off the little root ends. I don't want those. And then I'll cut these into 1-inch pieces as well. And we're going to keep most of the green, but not all of it. Then the onion, I'm going to trim off these ends. This can be in big chunks as well. I've got some of these outer things to peel still. That's still look kind of papery. We're not going to be eating it, of course, because it's just going to be part of the stock, and then we'll get rid of the solids later. I'll just peel it off. And then I'll decide what to do. Here, I'm just going to do them in pieces like that. They can just be these huge chunks of onion, which is fun. The bowl is kind of small. And then for the garlic, what we're going to do is smash them with the back of the knife. So you put them down and just give them a smash so they just flatten a bit. Some smash better than others. Smash and smash. You don't want to mince these. And then I have the parsley. So now we'll go back over to the stove and add them to the pot. Right. So we're going to add all those vegetables and the parsley. And then the other thing I'm going to add is a 1/2 teaspoon of thyme. And now I'm going to stir that up. See if you can see that. Get the veggies all coated in the oil. And now I'm going to let these cook for between 5 minutes and 10 minutes, probably longer. Because the longer you cook them, the more flavor they'll get. And if it gets brown on the bottom of the pan, I'll actually scrape that up because that will add flavor. So we'll come back in about 5 or 10 minutes, but I'm going to stir this about every minute or so, maybe even every 30 seconds once they really get going. Just so they don't stick to the bottom of the pan too much. So it's been about 5 or 6 minutes. Let's see if I can tilt the camera so you can see some of this. I am getting some browning on the bottom of the pan, but I just scrape it with the spoon because all of that adds flavor. It's not actually burning. So you see how I'm doing that? So just do that about every 30 seconds to a minute until I'm at the 10-minute mark. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. I scraped the bottom of the pan. Besides using my plastic spoon, I also used a metal spoon. Now I'm going to add 8 cups of cold filtered water. And I'm going to add 2 bay leaves, dried bay leaves, and 2 teaspoons of salt. And then I'm going to turn the temperature up. So what I want to do now is bring it to a boil. And once it boils, we're going to lower the heat and let it simmer. So put the heat on high, and we'll come back when it's boiling. Alright, the soup stock is boiling, so I'm going to turn the heat down so that it's just going to simmer. And I'm not going to cover this, so I might stir it with a spoon once. And while it simmers, I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes. The 30 minutes of simmering are up. So what I do is I get a large bowl and a large, you can either do a colander or a strainer. I'm actually using a strainer here. I like to put it in the sink just because I'm a spiller. But you can put it on the counter. And I'm going to pour the stock right in. And I'm going to strain out all of the vegetables. And what I'm left with is the vegetable stock. So now I'm actually going to be making a soup out of this tomorrow. So I'm going to put it into another container and put it in the refrigerator. Actually, I'm going to put it in a large plastic pitcher that normally you would think of putting juice in or iced tea, but I put the soup in. And that's what I'm going to use. So I'm getting that ready. And I just want to make sure you can see this. I'm actually going to pull that out of the sink so you can look at it. Alright, so I pulled the bowl out of the sink. I might even let it cool off a little bit before I pour it into the plastic pitcher and put it into the refrigerator. But that's how I make a simple vegetable stock that I can use in any recipe that calls for stock.